Hello, Froggy here, and today we'll be taking a look at the Whisper mission. You probably noticed that there is a barrier preventing you from going back out of the Lost Sector. So, what do you think? Does the rest of Io exist? The answer may surprise you, if you think the answer is yes. But let's go out that way anyways. We're going to be using a old hole, which I do believe most of them are, as we had quite a while to explore this area in the past. I saw this in one of Cloud's old videos. Kind of make your way through this bit, and gonna do it terribly good there, but you should be able to just sword fly on top. I'll be lazy and use a grapple. And now we're out of map in the Lost Sector. Or at least what would be a Lost Sector. There's kind of a sheet in between the Whisper area and most of the Lost Sectors. You're going to want to make sure that you come up in the gap. You can kind of see it down there. But yeah, we do get at least a little bit of the Io type terrain. It's been so long since I've been down in this spot. Could probably res breach up there, but you may have noticed that I'm in the mission end screen, and if I die, I'll just go back to the boss room, so not gonna check that right now. Bit of a long trek back, plus stasis crystal trickery won't work because it waits for it to disappear to let you spawn. Anyways, well, we do get to see this nice sort of Io terrain. Sadly, we don't get the Io skybox. Used to be able to see the cradle from out here, and that used to be the closest we could get to it. Of course, now we can just get all the way to something like it on the first mission of Witch Queen. We're closing in on the start of the Lost Sector. I find it's easiest to just kind of drop down from the top here. And here we go. Pretty much the closest to Io we're going to get for now. If there was a load, we would be hitting it about now. But you can see we've got nothing. All the way up to that barrier that I started out at. Alas. Now we can get back in the map just the way we came. Make a quick left and drop right back down in here. This was part of the route that you would use originally to get in, although that used a bit of sparrow trickery, and we're just going to duck back in here. You want to go a little bit farther forward than I did there. I fell back, and now this is not going to work. So let's just skip back inside. Most of the Whisper out-of-bouncing back in the day was focused on getting into the mission so you wouldn't have a timer. Because inside of Whisper is a lot more interesting than outside. It really captures the feeling of being out of bounds. The sense that you do not belong here. It's probably the single most out-of-bounds feeling I've gotten from Destiny without actually breaking the map. So, if you're trying to backtrack from the boss, getting to the green room is the only hard part. I used a stasis melee to get through that gap, although stasis crystals would also help. And interestingly enough, the thrall room is still active, so if you wanted to farm without a timer, you could beat the whole mission and backtrack, I guess? A bit impractical. When running the mission, I rediscovered a hole in the green room. My recollection is that it is easier to find your way out of bounds in the green room than to find your way through it the first time, so I imagine this has been rediscovered many times. Now if I can just get this jump. I believe there are quite a few of them. This was just the first one I ran into. And we are out, I guess. Kinda hard to tell with that room. The coolest thing about this Out of Bounds is that you can see the backside of the wall of trap drops, which is kind of neat looking. I have not managed to find a way to connect this to other areas for the most part. You can go a little bit farther forwards. That was a kind of running theme for most of Whisper. You can get out of bounds in plenty of places, but it seems to kind of be isolated pockets. I remember a few more holes that I haven't refound. I wasn't making videos at the time, so I've just kind of got a vague memory of where the ones I used to use are, and otherwise, there are a lot of old videos you can look at. This is kind of the area with the portal, if I can get it to show on the screen. It kind of flashed there. And maybe if I just crouch. Yeah, there it is. One I do have a pretty strong memory of, though, is getting out at the boss room. We didn't have Strand back in the day, so I'm going to refrain from using it here. I always found this route kind of fun, because you climb up one side and then transfer to the other. You can jump out to the blocks out in the distance, but it's full of turnbacks. You can probably get out of map there too, but I like this one better. It's getting a bit of extra height. I don't think that's really necessary, but wear out. This one's also kind of neat in that you can actually drop way far down. Depending on where you drop, you might get a turn back for a bit, but you can drop underneath it. You can see the kind of rectangular blocky stuff behind the boss over there. And almost ruined it with that sword swing. Yeah, you can see the entire underside of the Whisper mission here. See if we can get over to that, those kind of four protruding things. Looks kind of neat. Gonna have to do a bit of height gain here because I foolishly did not remain on Strand. Since I jumped from farther up, I can regain the height that I lost with well-timed sword flying. A lot of that was not well-timed, which you can probably tell by how long it took. Just gotta get my grenade back. And then we'll see about switching over to Strand. How long could it take for one grenade to charge? Probably more than my platform will last, but we've got 26 ammo. This is why you always want to check your subclass before making a lengthy flight. But we've made it with 15 to spare. Gotta get a little bit of height. I think there's a... yeah, there's a lip. But yeah, I would highly recommend playing around in the Whisper mission. And maybe even going out of map. Definitely one of those where it actually feels a lot more out-of-mappy within the map. But there's still some stuff to see. Like, what's up here? Death, apparently. Well, anyways, happy exploring.